Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Today I'll be your judge, your jury, and your analyst. And today I bring to you my top 5 teams for Master Premier Classic. Now, for those of you that have been playing Go Battle League for a while, Master Premier Classic is just a fancy way of saying Master Premier Cup from Season, 3 or Season 4, I believe. You guys could have just changed the wording, yeah. Anyways, the rules of this cup is basically there are no XLs or legendaries allowed. So, if you don't have a Zacian, or if you just want to dive into the Denison and bowels of Master League or I believe it's just Open Master League and Master Premier Cup. So, I'm not sure if Classic is going to be... I don't think Classic is out. It's that and then the Kanto Cup. So, you have options if you don't want to do this cup. However, Master Premier Classic or Master Premier Cup from Season 3 was a favorite from a lot of you, and some of you climbed a lot, including me. The thing is, there are a lot of teams that are viable for Master Premier Classic, and it wasn't too much... Okay, so it could kind of get a little RPS-y, but there was plenty of ways you could play out of losing lead, and there were a lot of teams that were super powerful. You likely already have these Pokemon built if you've been playing Go Battle League for a while. So, as I always say, please consider contributing to PvPoke.com. As you see, the Master Premier Classic is still full of very powerful Titans. You go into the rankings. A little surprise here is Gyarados Shadow did enter the #1 ranking. Not really a surprise, just because that's basically because Crunch got buffed. With Crunch's buff, it might not be a bad idea. Usually, you can use Waterfall, but it might not be a bad idea to run Dragon Breath and Aqua Tail, because if you do get the debuff, you can do a lot more damage, and plus, with Dragon Tail or Dragon Breath, you threaten Dragon types. Basically like Garchomp and Dragonite. So, it's a lot of things you can do, and you can still bully your way through Metagross into 2-shield with a Shadow Gyarados. Or just a regular Gyarados even. Without further ado, let's get started. So this team features Excadrill lead, Gyarados as your safe switch, and Togekiss to close out. Yes, Shadow Gyarados is extremely powerful, but I don't expect you to have a perfect one. A 98 might do, but I'm not sure if you guys are willing to shell out your Elite TM on anything other than a Shadow Perfect. Along with that, Excadrill, the reason why you have one in the lead is it beats Garchomp. Not Garchomp. It beats a lot of the Steel-type meta. So if you get a Metagross or if you get a Magnezone, you are loving life. And even if not, if they have like a Dragon Tail Gyarados, if it's Waterfall Switch, but... there's a lot of things Excadrill can do, as in breaking shields. Or you could just say switch into Gyarados, break shields with Gyarados, and you could use the Togekiss 2-shield strat, which is here to close out, or you can just run over your opponent with Excadrill. So a lot of things you can do with this team. Again, you have the option of using 2-shield charm strat, double break shields, and Excadrill with Rock Slide and Drill Run is a monster in this meta. 8 for coverage, not a lot of bulk, sadly, just because of Excadrill. With Excadrill, it's not yes, you'll win CMP a lot. It has high attack, so you will KO a Magnezone at plentiful ranges with a Drill Run. Great safety, a lot of consistent damage. So you see here, Excadrill is, this entire team, or most of it, you can beat Metagross. Togekiss can take out Metagross with a Flamethrower. Gyarados and Excadrill have a pretty comfortable matchup against it. So you want your opponent to have a Gyarados either in the lead or line... not a Gyarados, a Metagross in the lead or to line up with Excadrill. Garchomp is also susceptible to the back row. Togekiss in the back, again, if you have energy and you can Flamethrower Metagross, you have a lot of chances to take it out. It's essentially a kill Metagross team in a sense, but at the same time, Excadrill on its own is able to take out Metagross if you can catch it in the lead, or if you have a Drill Run queued, you can just end it in one shot at very comfortable ranges. If you lose the lead with Excadrill, safe 6 in a Gyarados, hopefully Togekiss can take out whatever's in the back, or Excadrill with shields is able to just steamroll its way through your opponent's line. Very low threat score of 530. To put it in hindsight, 600 is on the high end. This is a very low threat score team. This was actually one of the top teams from before. For some odd reason, Gyarados Safe Switch was really, popular. But at the same time, as you see, this team is monstrous. It has a very low threat score, does really well. And like I mentioned, there's a lot of opportunities for you to save shields. And if you get the debuff on Gyarados with Crunch, more kill range for Togekiss's charms, or you, like with Rock Slide, you might be able to just OKO depending on the scenario, or you will prompt your opponent to shield. Lots of ways to play with this team, and it puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. Next up, we have Metagross lead, Snorlax Safe Switch, and Gyarados to close out. You can use Dragon Tail or Waterfall. I have Waterfall on this one. It doesn't really change the rating. You can change it to Waterfall Gyarados, or you can change it to Dragon Tail. It's really up to you. Some people are running Waterfall Gyarados. Waterfall Gyarados does wonders against things like Excadrill. Also gives you a better matchup against things like Metagross. However, if you do see a Dragonite, it's going to give you a little bit of a hard time because you won't have that Dragon Tail or Dragon type pressure for your opponent. This is essentially a double Safe Switch team. You lose the lead with Metagross, as in you see like, well, you don't even have to switch out of a Snorlax matchup with Metagross. You could choose to break shields. You could sack Metagross in the lead. Metagross is a very powerful lead for its ability to break multiple shields, bully its way through dragons, and as long as you don't see like an Excadrill or Rhyperior, you are vibing pretty hard. And even though you have that with Earthquake, you are able to take out other steel types, and you are able to essentially, if you see a Swampert, Earthquake can still does a decent chunk of damage if you are able to Earthquake through shields. Double Safe Switch, A's across the board. There are a lot of teams that will give you this rating. Usually, if you put Metagross and Snorlax together, you'll get all A's. That's just how strong the Snorlax Metagross core is in this meta. As you see, for potential threats on the overall meta, Garchomp, Gyarados. A Mudshot Garchomp will probably give you a hard time, or just Garchomp in general. So if you see Garchomp, you can Safe Switch into Snorlax or Gyarados. This is why you kind of want Dragon Tail Gyarados. It's up to you, but with Dragon Tail Gyarados, you can send in Snorlax to break shields. Dragon Tail Gyarados can make its way to Gyarados against Gyarados, and hopefully your opponent's Gyarados has Waterfall, and like I mentioned, you have Dragon Tail. If you switch up Waterfall to Dragon Tail, it doesn't have any change in its rating, and arguably you have a stronger balance of matchups against the overall meta. If you get Metagross versus Gyarados, you can choose to break shields, farm down Gyarados, and hopefully Snorlax and Gyarados can sweep the back row. In my all honesty, I'd rather you switch out, just switch out and then try to force the Gyarados on Gyarados, and hopefully Metagross can close out the back row. As you see, pretty low threat score, not as much as the previous team, but like I mentioned, you'll get A's across the board as long as you put Metagross and Snorlax together. It's such a strong core that those two mons just in one pair are just extremely strong. This team is very good against the overall meta. It's very, very strong. So you won't have it. It's pretty generic. Like I mentioned, double Safe Switch. Your only super threat is Gyarados itself. You can try to run Metagross with Psychic to make up for that. However, you kind of want Earthquake just so that you could try to play out the mirror. Or again, if you see an Excadrill, it does give you that win con if Metagross does have energy and your opponent's Excadrill cannot get to a drill run, or you could survive a drill run at full HP, and then what happens is that you could Earthquake the Excadrill with energy lead for victory or with shield. So this is why you need that coverage. There are other things you can use to take out Gyarados, so Earthquake versus Psychic. Earthquake, in my opinion, is just a lot better just because you have that coverage for Metagross's weaknesses. Alright, now this is the team I'm personally using. This is Dragonite lead, Metagross is your Safe Switch, and Excadrill to close out. The strategy for this team is for Dragonite and Metagross to break as many shields as possible, and then Excadrill will close out the back. With Drill Run and Rock Slide, Excadrill is an incredibly powerful mon because Excadrill with Rock Slide can take out Dragonite, it can take out Gyarados. You beat Steel types with Drill Run, and your only real threat are Machaps, Conkeldurs, and Gyaradoses with Waterfall. Or if you're down shields, one Aqua Tail won't take out an Excadrill, but Excadrill isn't the bulkiest thing in the world, so I'd just be careful. Anyways, this team has great stats across the board, with Dragonite and Metagross able to make up for Excadrill's lack of bulk. As you see, a B for bulk, that's it. Now, here's the interesting thing. With Dragonite, you can choose to 2-shield your way through Metagross, or you could break shield. It's really up to you, or you can farm it down. There's a lot of ways you could play out with Dragonite lead. Outside of seeing a Togekiss, if you see Togekiss just Safe Switch into Metagross, break as many shields like I said with Metagross. Excadrill Rock Slide is very powerful against Togekiss just because it's able to resist Charm, and with Rock Slide you get there pretty quickly because Mudshot is one of the fastest charging moves, fast moves in the entire game. 9 energy for 2 turns is really good. you play Swamperts. If you're watching my videos, you probably play Ultra Premier Cup, and you probably see a lot of Swamperts, and you probably know that Swampert going Swampert. This team has a threat score of 573, lower than this team too, but it's still really, really good. The reason why I like this team a lot is just because with Excadrill alone in the back, you have great coverage against, like I said, the entire meta. Leaving it in the back, having 2 shield breaker, powerful meta shield breakers will give you a huge opportunity against your opponent. And I've practiced with this team a lot, and it's done very well in training and in sparring battles with my other friends, who happen to be former legends as well, and are really good at the game, because the skill ceiling for this game isn't too high. So as long as you're practicing and making a lot of moves, you can beat the King of Charmanders. It's actually, and literally any person on the leaderboard. I've beat number 1 through 500 a lot. They're like, it's impressive, but if being on the leaderboard or being a top legend was so polarizing, then why does nobody have like a 90% win rate, or 100% win rate even, or 95 or 99? Let's go Battle League. You could go rock, paper, scissors to oblivion. This, however, if your opponent has double steal or is riding the dragon double steal, guess what? Dragonite and Excadrill alone can take out that entire team. That's why this team's really powerful. You can choose to sack Dragonite in the lead, like you see the Excadrill and Garchomp here. You could choose to just sack and break shields with Dragonite, and then try to close out Metagross and Excadrill. The key with this team is to save Excadrill with shields. Metagross on its own with energy lead is very powerful, and there's a lot of scenarios where I've actually just sacrificed Metagross outright just because it's kind of just dead weight. I've had Metagross in the back, and it's up against Metagross and Excadrill, and I literally just sacrifice Metagross because I don't need it anymore, and Excadrill closes out the match. Save shields, Excadrill gonna Excadrill, dump a bunch of rocks, or drill the unholy heck out of your opponent's behind with this team, and it does really well. Again, this is the one I'll be using, so hopefully this one does help you out, unless some crazy madman is making an anti-dragon team or something like that. In any case, there's a lot of instances where I still lost with the Dragonite, but still came out with the W in practice. So very good team, very good strategy for Master Premier Classic. Alright, the final 2 teams utilize the Snorlax Metagross core in the back, so I'm just going to, it's not going to be very quick. These are 2 teams that actually made the top teams in prior seasons. They're still very powerful, and the first one I'm going to show you features Togekiss, Charm, Ancient Power, and Flamethrower. You can use Aerial Ace. A lot of times what happens is that some people will just play the mirror, and whoever boosts essentially wins, or if you get, or your opponent is going to choose to sack their Togekiss, it's really up to you. Togekiss boosted +2 is an absolute nightmare in Master League. You probably know it. I know it. This thing is evil. The good thing is Metagross can still take out a boosted Togekiss as long as it's only boosts once, I believe. As long as it's once. If it's twice, GG's. That's all I have to really say. But that's why so many people have been using Togekiss leads. Togekiss isn't a bad. The Togekiss 2 shield strat is very good. Togekiss does resist ground type attacks because it is a flying type. A's across the board. If anybody had a cheat sheet, it would be Togekiss with this core. As you see, very powerful against the overall meta. You see Metagross in the lead. You lose the lead with Togekiss or Magnezone. Say you switch into Snorlax, break shields, save shields for Togekiss, Metagross with 2 shields, or with shield advantage or even shields. Togekiss can wipe out Metagross with Flamethrower or Excadrill, so just really up to you. Get as much energy as you can with Togekiss. Flamethrower is very powerful, or you just boost and you smile and just absolutely annihilate your opponent's hopes and wishes. Togekiss does decently well, as you see here, against Rhyperior. Well, the reason why is just because if you look at the 2 shield, it's really not that bad. Rhyperior doesn't resist Charm. Excadrill does, so that's where I'd be wary of. If you see Excadrill, you might want to be careful. But as you see in the 2 shield, Rhyperior does lose against Togekiss. Pretty comfortably, by the way, just because you won't get to a Stone Edge. And even then, it kind of banks on your Togekiss, like your opponent's Togekiss not falling for the Surf Bait, but it just really depends, like I mentioned. I don't foresee a lot of Rhyperiors out here. Ever since Excadrill's release, I haven't seen a lot of Rhyperiors. Excadrills have replaced a lot of scenario, and well, it's essentially replaced Rhyperior outright, just because Excadrill has that great charge move coverage, and Mudshot generates a crap ton of energy. Low threat score 590, 570. Again, this team is usually used to catch the dragons in the league. Garchomp and Dragonite are and Haxorus even are popular choices, so you're likely going to catch a dragon lead, and then you just realign accordingly. And like I mentioned, Togekiss can still take out the Steel archetype with Flamethrower, etc. So very powerful team, and may the boost be with you. Alrighty. Now, for the number 1 team, like I told you, it has the Snorlax Metagross core, but you have Barney, you have the thing that blocks you from Route 69, or whichever the actual route is, and then you have the coolest metal saucer. No, because, Metagross, like, folds. If you watch the anime, Metagross folds its arm, and then it's like a UFO, floats in the air. Pretty dang cool. I want one in real life. Not gonna lie, I would love to have a Beldum as a partner, except, yeah, it's a floating, like... It's like a floating leg, okay? So, anyways, enough about this. This is Dragonite lead, Snorlax, A-Switch, Metagross to close out. This was the number 1 team in, I believe, Season 4, when Master Premier Classic Master Premier Cup back in the day actually first came out. So, statistically, it was insanely powerful. I played it a lot, did really well with it. Unless Go Battle Egg takes your soul, then there's nothing you could really do about that. But anyways, as you see, this team is ridiculously powerful. It is across the board like the previous teams like I showed you. And Dragonite is a beast. You can choose... Dragonite is so powerful in the Master Premier Classic Cup, as long as you could, like, 2-shield your way through Metagross or Garchomp. Well, actually, Garchomp isn't really a threat. But with Metagross, you can force your way through with Dragonite. It's going to cost you your shields, but if you're confident in your abilities, you can play it out. As you see here, Dragonite, even though it's a super close matchup, with Dragon Tail, you are essentially able to just beat the unholy crap out of your opponent. You could, as you see, double Dragon Claw, or what you can do is that you can just break both shields and then you, like, Hurricane, but it, again, you can force, it's really up to you on how you want to play that matchup. Force your way through the Metagross with 2 shields and leave it to the zeros, or you could say switch into Snorlax and then play out the match by breaking shield with Snorlax, and then Metagross closes out. Again, used to be one of the most powerful teams before. With Dragonite in the lead, you could take out Garchomp. It's a little dicey just because when you do the Dragonite versus Garchomp matchup, be careful of getting this. It's very iffy, because if Garchomp's running if it's running the Mud Shot variation, you win pretty convincingly. If it's Dragon Tail, it's a little risky, because as you see, one turn of difference can literally flip the scenario. So it's basically essentially whoever gets the Dragon Tail through. Usually what I will do so that you guarantee this matchup is that wait till they fire first, because if they fire first, usually the Dragon Tail for a 3-turn move, usually it will go through. So usually your Dragon Tail will go through. Keyword is usually. Fast moves are not consistent, but if they fire first, as long as the interval is even, it should go through. Keyword is should. So that's the way you could play it. But again, with a Dragon Tail Sand Tomb Garchomp, it's very iffy. Some Garchomps are running Earth Power, though, so if they are running Earth Power and they don't have that bait move, pretty great for you because you're going to win it out. Dragonite does really well against Gyarados, especially, well, if it's a Waterfall Gyarados. If you see Gyarados and it is rocking Dragon Breath, then switch out, say switch into Snorlax, and then have Dragonite and Metagross realign. So try to realign it. Even though Gyarados does resist Meteor Mash, it still takes a decent chunk of damage just because Meteor Mash or Community moves in general are just so godforsakenly strong. Low threat score 548. As you see, the first team on my list, and this is the final team, all have the lowest threat scores. Very strong, very powerful, a lot of ways to play out of things. Dragonite can take out Togekiss with a Hurricane. So there's a lot of ways, there's a lot of, like, even if you realign, as long as you have energy on Dragonite, Dragonite can close out against Charmers. So keyword is can. So play it well, and you could do very well with this team. There's a lot of instances where I've literally just had my opponent not try to farm down my Dragonite or other things, or I farmed down an entire Togekiss and then wiped out my opponent's back row. Get really creative with this team, and it's no stranger how it used to be one of the most powerful teams in the previous season. And that's GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. There will be a Go Battle Day with Master Premier Classic out. So if this is your favorite team and you're like, need that last little push to Legend, like I do, because, you know, Light kind of stabilized a little bit, so hopefully it just stays. Please, with that little server maintenance you did, I pray to the Niantic gods, which there really is no god. It's just a bunch of tech nerds from the San Francisco Bay Area. I should know because I used to work HR in that place, and it's what it is, you know what I mean? Do your best. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. There is the Kanto Cup available if you don't want to play this cup. So Kanto Cup's out there. Personally, I'm looking towards Kanto Cup more than this cup. I'm gonna give it a shot, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna try this one because Master Premier Classic does have a lot of win cons from losing leads. Player skill does matter. There's some opportunities for you to sack swap. You go through them pretty quickly because Master League Pokemon just do so much damage, so it's really up to you. In any case, I wish you the best of luck. You still have a few weeks. After this one, you have 2 weeks of this cup, and then you have 1 week of all the cups. So there's still time to make Legend. I would say if you're Veteran right now, you still have plenty of opportunities to make it. Like, Veteran's pretty comfortable. And hopefully, like me, you do not lag super hard. It's very frustrating, and fast moves aren't working right now, and the game is broken in general. Hopefully you do well, though. Hopefully, I wish you... Yeah, may my internet be with you. I don't know if I can make that happen, but you know what I mean. It's better than a Spirit Bomb from Goku, because apparently no amount of server maintenance that you give can make Niantic Goku servers be able to perform. Like, the Niantic Spirit Bomb would be so freaking pathetic. Hell, I don't think it would work. Frieza would have blown up the earth and everybody would be dead. Frieza would have taken over the universe. If you watch Dragon Ball Z, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, do me a huge favor. Please like and subscribe. It's totally free. You can easily do that by putting your mouse on the bottom right. You see that little sub box? Put your mouse over it. You can easily sub from there. Really appreciate my current subscribers. Love you guys. Appreciate your support. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you guys on the next video.
Ciao!